Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for another Late Night Leeds episode. Like Ghost Spectre says in the comment, make sure you've paid the rent. And how do you pay the rent? You do it by smashing a like on the video. I want to thank you all as well, because this afternoon we hit 23,000 subscribers, okay? So, I mean, we've gone from 22 to 23 in the space of a month. Well, less than a month, which is absolutely amazing. So, thank you so much for that. What a roller coaster of a day. It started off slow. It then, it started last night, I would say. This time last night, it started with the Buonanotte stuff. And we wake up in the morning and it's like, yeah, nah, it's not a mover. Then Brighton tweet a picture of him in training. And yeah, it was not. Look, we told you that we didn't believe in the links just because of where they were coming from. And just because certain publications run with it, we need to differentiate. Like when people say it's in the YEP, you need to differentiate between what was from the writers and what's just being clickbait as a website thing for you to click on. If it's Graham Smith, if it's Joe Donahue, etc., the main writers, then okay. So this is what happens, right? Because the internet is the media these days, okay? So Buonanotte, then it was Buonanotte is not on, and then we heard about Lewis O'Brien genuinely could be a thing, and we're going to chat about that as well because I want to get everyone else's opinions on it. So there was that, and then of course we heard about Kamara, and I was a bit dubious, but it looks like that really is close. You know, it's been reported by a number of reputable sources now. Then we were linked to Joseph Paintsil, and then we hear the news as well about Willie Gnonto, which you know my opinions on it, right? Willie Gnonto, I was quite upbeat about it. I know that might have surprised a few people. I ain't called Bipolar Joe for any reason. But listen, the facts are, for me, anyway, we could do with him. The squad's fed bare. You add him to it. Yeah, it's going to improve you, right? It's going to improve you. But as I always like to do, this is a panel show, right? Late Night Leeds, we've got the crew, we've got Lockie, we've got Andrea, the best duo since Ant and Dec, really. So we're gonna get them in, and we're gonna chat to them and find out their opinions on this mad date. Then we're gonna do a bit of a deep dive on what Glen Kamara can bring to us, and if he's gonna suit, and if he's the right decision. And then we'll also talk about Joseph Paintsil. Paintsil. I'm not too sure. These lads will know. And Lewis O'Brien as well, how good that would be. How good would the midfield be of Gray, O'Brien and Ampadu? It would cook in the championship. It would be really, really good. And will Paintsil be an inside forward? Will he be the number 9? I know he plays out on the wing. I don't know. It looks to be pretty interchangeable anyway at Leeds United, but we're going to talk about him. And it's got legs, that one. It's serious. I don't think a bid's gone in yet, but it's pretty serious. But you've heard enough from me all day. I think this is like the 4th or 5th video I've done today, but big up to each and every one of you because we've had amazing numbers on each and every one, right? So I'm really, really appreciative of the support because it's been video, nap, video, nap, video, nap. That's genuinely how it's gone today, and I'm loving it. Andrea and Lockie, yeah, well, Kimberly, without further ado, let's bring in the dastardly duo.
I prefer actually. Someone said, you said Anton Deck, someone said in the comments, the X of Leeds
DX. I quite like that as well, bro. Yeah, I quite like that as well. D-Generation X. Before we do that, I've just been alerted to the fact that good friend of the show, Damar Facey, is somewhere in the chat. Damar, you told me earlier on that I'd have something to be chatting about tonight. You told me there might be signings. Now, I do respect what you say a lot of the time, and I do believe what you say a lot of the time. But where is he now? You know that tune where it goes, "Where are you now?" Do, 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 do. I forget who sings it. But where are you now, Damar? We can't hear you. But no, listen, we're in a good mood tonight, as you can tell. All love Damar. Right, let's come to Lockie first and foremost. What a day. How's your mood? Just tell me that first of all before we dial into the Willy stuff, because of course we're going to have to dial into it, and I will not have this blasphemy that I have just seen. If them two are Triple H and Shawn Michaels, that I am China. I refuse to accept that fact. If you don't know about China, you need to get to Road Dog. Oh, you didn't know? You better call somebody. There you go. Sorry, I'll shut up now. I'm giddy. Go on, Lockie. You'll go.
I don't understand any of that. I'll be honest.
Oh, do you not know that reference?
No.
Oh,
You don't know Road Dog Jesse James is?
No.
And the bad apple.
You age out. Road Dog and Billy Gunn.
Yeah, man.
Is it wrestling? Is it wrestling?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not for you, no? Someone actually sent me a video. There was a video earlier on, right? A YouTube short, and it was this beautiful woman, and she goes, "There is one sound that every man likes," and then all of a sudden it goes, it was the Stone Cold music, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, let's go, because even the young people in the chat, bro, going, "What's he on about here?"
Yeah,
but some people know.
I used to love it back in day.
Yeah,
like I said, Stone Cold and all that. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's been a wild. We were mentioning the group chat earlier, and I was not bored. It's not happening, and then suddenly, endless. All right, someone heard me. It's wild, isn't it? And I think my biggest outcome from all of this is at least stuff is happening. And that's clear. Whether most of these links are real or as advanced as we led to believe, whether they'll happen, there's stuff happening, and that's something that it's just a positive for us, because all we've been asking for is for stuff to happen. Look, I don't think we'll get anyone in by the weekend. I think that's too short, to be honest. Or if we do, I don't think they'll be ready. But the fact that now we can see the 49ers at work, we can see there's clearly players we want. It makes you feel a bit more positive going into the last week of the window, doesn't it? And today's been wild, ups and downs. I've enjoyed it. Some of the links I'm really liking as well. Some really exciting ones in there. We'll get into all that stuff. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, same. Andrea, before we touch on go into specifics, how are you, mate?
All right, mate. I'm in a moderate mood because, like Goki said, of course, and like Gerard Romero for Bassi on Twitter, things are happening. Clearly, but until I see some signings happening officially, I will be in a moderate mood. I'll start to get excited again, because it's clear that before the
Funny you should say that, bro. What are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do when you see this? Wait, give me a second.
Yeah.
What are you gonna see when you see this? New deal. What are you gonna see? What is your instant reaction when you see this new deal? What? Talk to me. What are your thoughts on Gnonto? Let's get straight into it.
The first thing that I have is that he needs to change his agent. For me, he needs to change his agent. First of all, for me, the path is clear. He's been badly advised. He has his own responsibility because he's followed by the playbook, his agent. His agent just yesterday was saying that, was basically criticizing Leeds publicly on a sports radio in Italy, Radio Sportiva, saying that Leeds were like a wall regarding to Premier League offers. So he was basically saying that Leeds were, blocking a Premier League from Gnonto, meaning that he deserved to play in the Premier League for him. And for me, honestly, if it stays beyond the window, first of all, he needs to change his agent, because his agent advised him to refuse to play three times, to not board that boss for Birmingham, to then put in a written transfer request before the WBA game, changing the focus and the attention before the game, not on the team but on him. And clearly he's put Gnonto, his agent, in this situation. Gnonto has his own responsibility because he followed his agent, his advice, but he put him in this situation, ruining his relationship with the fans and making him an unpopular figure in West Yorkshire for nothing. If he stays beyond the window, for nothing. Everything happened for nothing. A whole year of work, a whole year of development, and a whole year as a fan favorite ruined in the space of 2 days because he followed his agent. So he needs, if he stays, he needs to make ground, and he needs to make a lot of ground. So first of all, for me, there's no way he keeps his agent for me if he stays at Leeds, because his agent tried to move him away from Leeds. So it's clear that he's going to do it again in January, because the path for Gnonto is clear. He wants to play in the Euros. If we qualify him, probably with Spalletti, we have more chances now than we had with Mancini, probably. Thank God for that, because we were really bad under Mancini recently. So, honestly, of course, he wants to play in the Euros if we qualify. For me, the options are two. Either his agent has understood, like I said on Twitter, either his agent has understood that there's only one club really interested, because his agent yesterday on the radio said that there are no Serie A clubs interested. Like I said, there's no interest for him in Serie A. So there's only Everton, and Everton are not going to pay £30 million or 30 million.
Well, this has come from the message boards in Everton that, pretty well connected, that Leeds wanted 32 million plus 3 million and add-ons. So it's clear, Andrea, that Everton aren't going to give us that, right?
Exactly, mate. They're not going to pay that sum. So all that's for nothing, because there's no way Everton are going to pay that, and you are stuck with Leeds. His agent made a complete mess, and he followed him into the fire. He followed him into the fire because this situation is really bad because of his agent, and it led to nothing. Because Everton, the only club really interested, are not going to pay the sum. You're stuck with Leeds. So the other option is that either he's realized, his agent, that there's no chance he leaves Leeds because there's no club that's going to pay the sum, so he needs to reintegrate him into the squad. Or either he says, okay, we get back to Leeds and to the first team squad. We decide to train again, to play again. If an offer arrives of that sum, probably really unlikely, you have to let him leave. And I don't think an offer will come of that sum. The other option will be he can play till January. Then if he plays a great football, under Leeds, he has a good campaign in the first part of the season, and in January an offer arrives, you have to let him leave because he has to play in the top tier in the second part of the season, trying to get a call up for the Euros. But let me tell you this. I think with Spalletti, even if he plays in the second tier, if you're playing good enough for the system, he may call you up. Because Spalletti, like I said the other night, he won't look at the level of the league. And the Championship really is not to the level of Serie A, but literally just below, because it's the top league. Honestly, it's better than some top tiers in Europe. So I think, honestly, he still has a chance to make the Italian squad with Spalletti. Spalletti is really a frank man. He looks at the level of the player, not at the level of the league. So that's my opinion on the whole situation of Gnonto.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Just all that aside, would you accept him back?
I'll accept him back.
Forget about all the hysteria, all those that say if he plays on Saturday against Ipswich, because I think he'll be in the squad. I think he'll be on the bench, because why else are you reintegrating him? He'll be on the bench. For me, anyway. It may be too soon, but I think he will. Now, are you okay with that? Or some will just say, nah, I don't want him near it. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I'll have him back on 2 grounds. Public apology, explaining his reasons to the fans, because the whole situation needs to be explained. He wanted to leave Leeds. Why you wanted to leave Leeds? Now you're staying. Explain to the fans why. And on another ground, needs to change his agent. These are the 2 grounds for me. These are the 2 conditions for me in order to reintegrate him, honestly. And he'll have to work harder than all the other players. He will need to be to show the commitment and to show that he wants to play for Leeds if he's staying. Because because when he plays, everybody will think that player didn't want to play for Leeds. He refused to play for Leeds 3 times. 3 times, like Booker 3 times. We're full of wrestling references tonight. Yeah. He needs to change the mood completely.
Yeah. And I get those that are saying, no, never again. And I get it, I just, on the wind-up me earlier, I tweeted out, I put Forza Ratto.
Dopo.
Well, I Googled, but listen. But the thing is clear, and I want to reiterate this fact. Someone mentioned about the chants and stuff. They'll continue. He won't get his chant back. He'll never be felt the same as he was. and he had a real opportunity, because you only get few characters that come through your football club that straight away as a fan you just endear yourself to. It's a really difficult quality to have. Even if you look at the last group that came in, there was only Tyler Adams that really endeared himself out of that first group. And he didn't even really have to do much. We just fell in love with Tyler Adams. Like, it's a real difficult quality. Matthias Klick being another. But if you think when Matthias Klick came in, I mean, not everyone we instantly fell in love with. There's just certain characters. So unfortunately for him, he's lost that now. And, you know, that will never be returned. But ultimately, if he pulls on the white shirt and he scores goals and gives his all, because regardless of what we think, what really confused me was his performance against Cardiff and the way he celebrated Sinisterra's goal. From an outsider's perspective, because there was even tweets, you can't tell me this guy doesn't care. And this is where we have to detach the emotion from it, because at that moment, it looked like he cared. Then we find out that he didn't care. And now we know where Gnonto is. Like, we know where Gnonto is in terms of he doesn't feel how we feel. But then again, do any footballers these days? Probably not. But it's hard for a fan to differentiate that. It's hard for a fan to remove themselves from that. I get it, you know? And I think it is what it is. But talk to me, Lockie. Where's your head on it?
I think, first of all, you can't forget, I think what he did, and I know a lot of people saying it's the way sport is these days, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Ward-Prowse didn't refuse to play for Southampton. And if we're talking about young guys, Romeo Lava didn't refuse to play. He was on the bench. He didn't get chose because that was the coach's thing. He wasn't fully committed. Obviously, he wanted to move, but he was on the bench. He was available for the team. He didn't refuse to play. And he's the same age as Will Gnonto, right? So he did that. However, he was clearly advised wrongly, and his agent put him in a ridiculous situation that you should not put your young client into. I think as a young man, you will go with what he says. He's the guy that you believe holds all the power to your career. You will agree with it. I think I would have done when I was 19, but I'm not him. I am not nowhere near as smart as he is. I've not done as well as he has. You know what I mean? Yeah. He has his own brain. He has to make these decisions, and he made the wrong one to go with that. Yeah. Now, first of all, you have to apologize. I still don't know if he stays or not, but if he's training and Daniel Farke's made that judgment that he's committed whilst at training, then that's all right with me. Now, what you also have to separate as a fan, it's really difficult, is the man from the player, and then also the player on the pitch, the player off the pitch. The player off the pitch might be really ambitious and want the best move straight away. The player on the pitch might just want to play football. There's two different types of people. And off the pitch, you might be a really nice, quiet lad. But when you mix them together, especially as a young guy, your brain will be a bit confused. You know which side wins. Is it the guy that just wants to kick a ball around the field? Because at the end of the day, footballers with young lads, that's all you want to do when you're a kid. You just want to kick a ball about. But then when you've got these influences from these higher agents who give you this contract in the first place and have that power over you, you have to fight that. And maybe he wasn't able to do that. I'm not defending him, by the way. I think the decision he made is wrong, and it's going to be hard for anyone to forget that. And I don't want anyone to forget it. Everyone needs to remember what he did. However, people make mistakes, and I'm not saying I'm ever going to forget him, because I'm not. That is wrong. You can't do that. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I forgive him. No, you made that mistake. That's on you. But I want to win the championship, right? That's my ambition. Willie Gnonto, the player on the pitch, forget about the personality off it or whatever, the player on the pitch is a good player to have in the championship. We cannot deny that. We can't deny that. He will add a lot to this side. And like you said, when he played against Cardiff, that wasn't a player that didn't want to play football. That was, when he's on the pitch, he gives everything. And I don't think that would change. And I don't think Daniel Farke would allow that. I don't think he'd put him in training or in the side if he didn't think he'd do that. Because what you do see players who play and they're not putting 100% in. So Willie Gnonto's having a real struggle for me dealing with this type of move, because maybe he's not experienced it like this before. You know, how do you deal with it when an agent tells you, look, we'll do anything in our power to get you to the Premier League. You will be in the Premier League. You're good enough for the Premier League. Just say you're not playing. Or we're going to... And then he's obviously naively accepted that and said, yeah, it's fine, not understanding the connection the fans had with the player. Because the fans love Willie Gnonto and they'll never love him like that again. And rightly so, because he made that decision. That's on him. But I think, personally, I want him to play just based on the fact, one, we're short already. We don't have, if he's there to play and he's training, and Farke's made that choice, like you said, Farke won't play him if he's not committed. If he's committed on the training ground, that's fine for me for now. If he's playing well for Leeds, that only means two things. He's winning his games and his value's going up. That's the asset he is to us. So, yeah, I just think on that aspect, you've got to let him play. You don't have to forget what he did. You don't have to cheer him. No. I'm not saying anyone has to do that. But like you said, and let's be honest, there's a space on that bench because and he's not taking anyone's place because we don't have the places, right? Sonny Perkins is clearly not training well enough. He'll fit in there. And that makes you think, doesn't it? If he's training ahead of people like Sonny Perkins, he's doing more than him, which is wild for someone that doesn't want to be here. It's a real confliction. But I'm not changing what I thought about him. That's not going to change. I think he made a terrible decision, and that will affect his relationship with the fans forever, and rightly so. But like he said, when he scores for the club, that's the best thing that can happen for the club, right? Yeah, and I think that's what we have to go on.
I think that's a very, very, very well educated, old beyond your years way of looking at it, Lockie. Nah, genuinely, it was really good. Thank you for that. For those that are asking for a poll, I can put one out. We did one on the earlier video. But I did put one out on Twitter. I did put one out on Twitter earlier on when the news broke. So I'll just update people on that. So this has had 3,371 votes up to this point, and it's 62.7% yes, bringing him back, which is quite a lot for 3,500 people to be fair. So I think, if he is. See, the thing is for me, Andrea, and before we move on, the key thing Lockie mentioned is we've already seen up to this point, Daniel Farke is the right man to have in charge of the situation we find ourselves in. If he has sat down with the player, because let's be honest, he didn't even know. He did not even know about the transfer request until after the game. He was told, I don't want to know nothing on transfers. That's what he told them. Yeah. So it's clear this guy is just tunnel vision. Leeds, you play for Leeds. This is how we prepare. If you don't want to be here, guess what? I won't even fill my bench. Not all managers would do that. He'd rather go into a game with less players than fill his bench, right? And he could have easily picked out from the under-23s to fill the bench because, let's be honest, someone could have got injured and we might have needed a striker, and ultimately we had not one on the bench, so he'd have had to move things around. So rather than going to the game with all the tools, he's gone, you're not putting in, you're not coming along, you can go play for the under-21s, right? So it's clear that this guy has morals, has things that you must do in order to be eligible for selection, first and foremost. So the fact that he has welcomed him back into the fold, not only in training, it also said in the article that he's been welcomed back into the dressing room, which hasn't happened with Cine, which hasn't happened with Costa, then we have to surely back that as a fan base and say, do you know what? If Farke's willing to bring him back, then we should also be on board with that too.
Yeah, and we need to talk about the situation with Cine very soon also, because it's really unclear to that one too for me. But really, I don't know, honestly. I don't think it's over, this one. No. Of course, Gnonto, Farke, as his morals, and is the best man for the situation we're in. And he was phenomenal on a communication level, especially talking about the world situation, even financially and everything, which are not, of course, his main tasks as managers, because he should have been the manager explaining the financial. It should have been the manager explaining the financial situation we were in. It was basically the face of the club, and handled it perfectly throughout the whole month of August for me. And of course, he has his morals. He has welcoming back in training. So of course, Gnonto will need to train at his best level in order to get selected, because all the players are the same for him. Everyone is the same. He, like you said, mate, Joe, he is willing to fill a bench with just 7 players if there's not enough players training properly. Left Sonny Perkins out, even because he wasn't training properly. Of course, he had some setbacks, injuries. But for me, it's not over, because it's also, we need to talk about necessity too. We are very short up front. So it might also be a move, an agreement found between the club and the agent, saying, of course, we want to get back into the squad from Gnonto's camp in order to be available, because they made a big mistake. They refused to play twice before ending in the transfer request. They should have done the reverse, ending in the transfer request and maybe refusing to play, because there was a contract and they refused to play. And you are a player, a professional player of Leeds United. So under your contract, unless you are not fit to play, you must play if selected. They made that mistake.
They will punish him for that. They will have punished him. It'll be like, take your medicine. You will be docked wages and that, and they'll probably relay that to us as fans as a sweetener as well. You know, I think that will happen. It wouldn't surprise me, Andrea, and I said this earlier on. I don't know if you agree, mate. I'd expect a new deal, because this sort of thing happens, and then you get a new deal, and it might include a release clause and all this sort of stuff.
I don't think so, to be fair, because I think they'll try to leave in January too. For me, I think they'll try to leave in January too, and especially if our asking price tag is 35 million, for example, 32 plus 3, like this at Everton before.
Yeah.
Of course, there's no way, even in January, there's no way someone pays that for a championship player too, because if he stays beyond the window, do you see a club player paying 35 million pounds for a player playing in the championship? Honestly,
no.
So
I don't.
Yeah, go, Joe.
No, I was going to say, like, let me get some super chats in on this situation, and then we'll move it on slightly. Tom Johansson says, "Good to see you in a better mood. Keep up the good work, Mott." Thank you very much, Tom. Aaron says, "Upfront payment before I come a member, brother. Really happy to support you. Thank you very much." Andy says, "Gnonto was taking bad advice from his agent. We can't dissolve him of any responsibility, though, and he trusted him. Gnonto is a young lad who could be easily manipulated by an agent who is only in it to line his own pockets. His agent needs to go." It's a big ask. I agree with you, but it's a big ask for him to do that. Damar Facey as well comes back and says, "Joe, even I get blue balled, maybe not confirmed, but we do have signings there ready to go. It's only 2:10 in San Francisco." That rhymed, but I don't know if you realised that, but it did. We do have signings there ready to go. It's only 2:10 in San Francisco. There you go. You're a poet, and then you didn't even know it. And on that note, let's talk about signings, right? So we know Buonanotte. Look, he might be available for a loan. If he is, that'll be very late in the window. He's currently in training with Brighton. I think we can all sort of like rub that one off for the time being. Boys, you can back me up on this as well, just to clarify that we know Leeds United are in the market and are making moves. Basically, before it was announced, we were made aware that Brandon Williams was on his way to Ipswich. Okay, now the lads can test to this because we mentioned it before it came out. And Leeds, apparently that deal for Brandon Williams was done like last week, but Leeds United had spent all week trying to hijack the deal. Yeah, they tried to hijack the Brandon Williams deal. Now, for whatever reason, he's chose to go to Ipswich. I think maybe some issue. I don't know. I don't need to go into that. But basically, he's chosen Ipswich. Obviously, he's worked with Kieran McKenna before, etc. But he'd also worked with Daniel Farker. Okay, so Leeds United are active, and the reason we know that is because we were told about the Ipswich thing before it happened, and then a couple of hours later it came out. Right, so it's like, right, okay, you can be safe in the knowledge that Leeds actually were trying to get it. So it's clear that we're going for a fullback. That's clear. I would argue maybe one that can play both sides, because both Max Aarons and Brandon Williams are able to play both sides. So that's something worth considering. And maybe we'll do a scouting report on fullbacks that can play both sides if indeed we haven't signed one. So that's a positive that we know we are active. Another reason we know we are active, well, it's been reported that Glen Kamara is very close. Now, let's start with Glen Kamara first and foremost. Obviously, one that's been mooted right from the start. Really, he was mentioned by Graham Smith, months ago, and it looks like that finally might be about to happen. I think Middlesbrough had entertained it, maybe Preston as well. No, it wasn't Preston. I forget the other club. Coventry, right? Okay, but it looks like Leeds might have got their man, and the reason being, it's been reported by top, Sky Sports Scotland, Sky Sports England, and then the fourth official, which is like a Patreon Rangers kind of site that gets quite a lot right, and they broke the news way back when. So they're saying it's done 5.5 million. We'll have to wait and see if it's announced over the next coming days. Andrea, you're a bit dubious about the Kamara one, though, in general, right? Like, what are your thoughts on Glen Kamara to Leeds United? Is it too much? Will he fit?
I don't know if he'll fit, to be fair, because the Rangers' style of football is really different, and sometimes it's a slower ball possession based from what I've seen in the past. Especially, I've seen games before Bill became the manager, so under Van Bronckhorst and under Gerrard and Van Bronckhorst play a very different style of football from Farke. So he was one of their best players in that season, but if you ask Rangers fans too, he's a little bit ups and downs player. He's decent. I mean, he's a decent player. Will accept him in the squad, bring him in. Yeah, of course, as a squad option, because of course we need to bring in players in midfield. It would be a good fit, but honestly, I prefer Lewis O'Brien to start alongside Ampadu. Another player in Scotland I really like is Mike O'Reilly from Celtic. I prefer both of them to Kamara because I don't know, and especially there's another question mark for me because basically he's been out of the squad at Rangers since the start of the preseason, so he's staying on his own basically. How fit it will be? It will take some time to get fit, to get match fit for him. But on the level of experience, of course, he will bring experience because he's a Finnish international. He's played at the Euros. He was actually very decent at the Euros for Finland. When I've seen him play, especially in the Europa League for Rangers, he's been good, but he's a little bit switch on, switch off player in terms of how he plays. Of course, the positives are that he will bring 8 and centimeters to the midfield. He's a little bit light in terms of pounds, in terms of physicality. Another positive is that he can play at the back. He can play as a defensive midfielder. Of course, his main role is CM. When I've watched him, he liked to go forward and take shooting opportunities too when he had the possibility from outside the box. He's decent, but honestly, I prefer other players ahead of him. But if they bring him in, I think we need 2 in midfield at least. So for me, it will be perfect, like Ampadu and O'Brien with Gray and Kamara from squad options. That would be the perfect scenario for me. As a starter in that system, I don't know, probably from the bench as a substitute, his characteristics will fit the team more because he can, when the spaces, especially in the second half, he can be the one using and carrying the ball in those spaces properly. That will be a good fit. Looking at his skills, and compared to the team and the system.
And thank you for that, Andrea. And Lockie, like Lewis O'Brien. Let's talk about him as well as Kamara as well. Obviously, Lewis O'Brien seems to have picked up pace. We know Forest are out signing players. There's reports that Leeds wanted 2 midfielders. If we were to sign Lewis O'Brien on a loan, maybe, and pay for Glen Kamara at 5.5 million, for me as a fan looking on that, it's really, really good, astute business and does sort out the midfield in a clean sweep, right?
Yeah, like I don't know that much about Kamara as a player, really. I've not watched a lot. But what I've seen from him, he seems to be quite technical, good in tight spaces, decent at driving forward. Is that right, Andrea? Would you say that's right? Decent technical player, yeah. So, but we all know Lewis O'Brien. We all know his capabilities. He was excellent in the Championship for a few years. And I remember when we went to the Premier League and we were talking about buying him and stuff like that, but we didn't want to pay 10 million, I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
And I think he gets a bit unfair stick because his name's Lewis O'Brien and it's not, Brazilian. But he's good at the defensive work, but he's actually really good at ball progression.
He elevates the midfielders.
100%.
He elevates it.
100%. I think as an all-arounder, I say he's better than Ampadu in terms of different attributes, but I think they're very similar not in terms of style of play, but in terms of they can do a lot of things in midfield, if that makes sense. So them two in there is for me is a brilliant midfield. And then you add Archie Gray in there, who's just going strength to strength, and a Kamara, who, like Andrea said, can come on and be that technical player, can get the ball forward, keep the ball. That's an outstanding midfield, I think, in the Championship. Yeah. I think that's... Yeah. And then obviously, then that gives time and less pressure on Darko JB to develop and stuff like that. So if you get both of them in with Archie Gray, it'll take them pressure off Archie Gray. So if he's not performing well, he doesn't have to play. With Ampadu, that's what we need around the pitch. That's the sort of depth Daniel Farker talked about in his interview, where he says we need players every position. If you can have a midfield there, for me, the only lacking thing would be a big physical presence. If there's a game what needs a bit more physicality in there, I think, although O'Brien's decent in a tackle, you need a big physical guy in there potentially, but that might come later in the window. Who knows? But with them four,
Matt O'Reilly.
yeah. And the lad from I can't say his last name, Tim from Villa.
That's
the one. Yeah, something like that. That'd be brilliant. But as a four, I think and Archie Gray learning off them three as well, all different types of players. And he's going to keep growing as well. He's not stopped growing 100%. Yet. He's going to get bigger and bigger. So brilliant balance if you can get all them for sure.
Yeah, balance. It's a word I've heard a lot all week. It is not just on Leeds though. It was spoken about from Man United's midfield. It was spoken about in Liverpool's midfield. It is all about balance.
Bielsa used to talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
balance. Yeah, having balance.
Yeah. Having the right people. For sure. Just want to shout out Bryce Canavan for becoming a member of JUSTJOE FC. Big up to you, my guy. Look, there's a lot of, people are saying, come on. Not all players are judged by goals and assists and all this sort of stuff, regardless, sometimes the eye test tells you different. But I think if the reports are true, okay, and again, we've seen this window that we've been given a name as a fan base that's been put out there, and then we've just gone totally left field. So Kamara might not come in. Lewis O'Brien might not be real, but because no one bar Andrea predicted Ampadu, and it came out of nowhere. And no one really predicted Joe Rodon. And no one definitely didn't say Max Aarons, really, in terms of that will be viable. We might have mentioned him as an option, in the
unrealistic, we all thought.
Yeah, it was unrealistic. We're not going to get him. And then we nearly did. So that's one to definitely watch. Before we move on, folks, as I say, there's just under 1,500 people. We did top out at 1,500 earlier on. Big up to each and every one of you. If you haven't already, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the respective channels. And of course, Andrea's Twitter. This is his home anyway now until he sets up his own channel, I think. Listen, if you could like the video, it'd be great if you could do that. Now, the other person on the thumbnail is Joseph Paintsil, okay? Is it Paintsil or Paintsil? Do you know how to pronounce it, lads? Paintsil. It's spelled Paintsil, isn't it?
Paintsil.
It's spelled Paintsil. So this is a Ghanaian footballer who plays at Ghent over in Brussels, right? It was mentioned earlier on. I don't know if you folks remember, but when we were tracking the Charles de Ketelaere deal, I had a reporter on by the name of Alex, who I've actually spoken to this evening. He was working tonight, but he's going to see if he can sort something out for me. Obviously, he was really bang on with everything around the Charles de Ketelaere deal, so hopefully we can speak to him at some point, because he actually came on. He was asked by our good friend Ash, who reached out to him and asked him, is it real? And he said the interest is genuine. Yes, no bid has gone in yet, but Ghent want close to 10 million. So it's definitely one to watch, and shows Leeds United do have cash if indeed they are even exploring these as deals, right? Because what would be the point if you don't have the capital to pay for them? But Lockie, you've been gushing ever since this came out. Talk to us about him. What can he offer? What can he do?
Yeah, I have a weird, strange, boring obsession with Belgian football. I just love watching it.
I'm not surprised, bro, when you watch a German second. I can't lie.
It's just like this guy. There's just random players in it that are just really good, and you think, where's he come from? And then they get 20 goals a season. So it's hard to compare him to a single player, but The one I mentioned in the chat earlier was Raheem Sterling, in the sense that
Raheem the Dream, really?
Yeah, not the Raheem that played for Chelsea the other day. That was a ridiculous performance.
I was going to say, if he's going to look like that, bro, then get him in now. He was sick.
I'm talking more final third off the ball stuff. So his off the ball movement is probably one of his best attributes. He's extremely quick in a straight line, and I mean, he's rapid, and he's one of them people like close to Dan James quick. He's very quick. But what he's really good at, and this is where he scored a lot of his goals from last year, came from in the box, arriving in the right position in the box. This will massively help in a Daniel Farke system. This will take reliance off the striker getting 25 goals, because he is the type of guy, he'll make these runs. Even if it has to be from deep, if it has to be last man, he will make runs in behind. He will make runs into the box, and he's very good at them. The timing of the runs, losing defenders, at times he's unmarkable. And what he likes to do is just stay on the right, stay out wide, ball over the top, one-on-one, good finisher, like Raheem Sterling, you know, that type of player that in the final third is impossible to mark and is good at finishing. So we can be, for me, it's weird when he dribble. It's not like a skillful dribble. He won't do step overs and all this fun stuff like Rafinha used to do. But what he will do is he'll square up a man, he'll take him on. And if he's anywhere in the box, he'll have a shot. And he hits it hard and low. You know, none of this fancy stuff. He'll hit it hard and low and in for the corners. He's also very good at, say in a crowded box, a crowded area, getting that quick shot off. You know, when you think there's not a shot on, he'll just do it quickly and it'll go into the bottom corner and no one's reacted. It's kind of like Raheem Sterling did as well. So in that sense, he reminds me of him a lot. You've got 14 goals and 14 assists in 30 games last year. I know it's Belgium, and everyone's going to say that, but that's ridiculous in any league.
Yeah.
And Belgium's people acting like Belgium's league too. It's not. You know, there's some decent talent in Belgium. Now, for me, people talk about who's the guy Leicester signed, the winger,
Mavididi.
Mavididi. For me, this is. Yeah. I like Mavididi, but for me, this is a level above that, in my opinion, just based on what I've seen. I think he is a replacement for potentially Sinistera. Having said that, if Sinistera was to go and this guy came in, I think in terms of output, it could be fairly seamless. I'll be honest with you. He's not the type of player who's going to dominate a game in terms of get the ball every 5 seconds. But what he will do, he will pop up in important moments and create chances just based on his movement and his pace and his finishing. This one is, 25 years old? The 10 million, I think you do that. How much was Mavididi? He was around that, right? 8 million, was he?
Around that, yeah.
I think for a really level above winger in this league, that's what you got to pay him. For me, is that, and I think he'd be brilliant. If I'm being honest, for Leeds, he can play left or right as well. He's much better on the right, in my opinion, from what I've seen. But can play either side, and he's he'd be very good, very good for me.
Yeah, amazing.
He can keep fit as well. He can keep fit, slow, steady Steve. Yes.
Yeah, and I will say that too. The comparison for me is like, if you look at players in the championship last season, in terms of physicality, he's not very tall, to be fair, but he's strong. He's a physical player. He can be up for the physical battle. And he's pacey. He's very fast, lads. He's very, very fast, and especially he moves a lot without the ball. And it's an all-around player, but I agree with Loki. He's better off on the right wing, and it makes you wonder: is that a replacement for Sinistera? Is that a replacement for Harrison that's left? Of course, Harrison could play on both wings, but preferably on the left recently. But yeah, another thing, last season he scored 14 goals. They finished second in the league behind Royal Antwerp in the Belgian league, Genk. But they played with this manager, Wouter Branken, 4-2-3-1. It makes you remember something, that formation. It's very familiar because we play that formation, of course. The previous season he struggled more. He scored 2 goals, I think.
Yeah, struggled. Yeah.
They finished 8 under Bernd Stock, the German manager who brought Hungary to Euro 2016. But he played on the left side, so it's better with his preferred foot, on the right wing, because he can attack the space behind the defense. If you look at his goals last season in the Belgian league, a lot of them came from off the ball movement, getting behind the defense and being at the right place at the right time. But it's also player moving all around. And if there's something we've seen, and some signals we've realized after these first matches in the season is that the wingers are moving a lot of the ball and moving away from their starting position, like Sinisterra versus Cardiff, like Somerville, when he used to drift in the middle and be the number 10, you know. And also Shackleton, we've seen him play centrally, you know. This is a player who does exactly that. He moves a lot also in the central area. Of course, he can play as a number 10 too, because he is very fast and quick to dispose of the ball and pass it to a teammate and then attack the space. And that's good because you move the defense, the opposition defense a lot. But his preferred position and his natural position is the winger. So he's not a proper number 10. He can be adapting in that, and it's good in doing that. But dropping back to get the ball like a number 10 has to do won't be the perfect solution for him. The perfect place for him is the right wing. And why we, of course, there's doubts because people see it's the Belgian league and have doubts, you know. But if you look at the player, he has the physicality and the pace to play in the championship, absolutely 100%. And don't forget, he's an international too, because you see Paintsil. Maybe you remember the player who used to play for West Ham or Fulham back in the days. You know, this is a different one, but he's a Ghanaian international too. So he has experience also internationally. Of course, Ghana are not as good as they used to be when they had Boateng and Rayu, all those players, you know, Apia, Asamoah Gyan. But this is a good player for the championship, and especially because the situation on Sinisterra is not clear yet. Now, we want to back with the squad, but Sinisterra is still training on his own. As of now, we still need to hear what Farke says, because they will ask him for sure about Sinisterra in the presser in the coming days. Yeah. If Sinisterra leaves, this will be the replacement.
Yeah, Thursday seems to be the one. We've had some comments come in that I just want to have a look at. This made me laugh. Is he better than Shackleton on the right, though? That's the thing. Not too sure. Caleb said this channel should be on 24/7. Listen, you can make it happen, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Charles says, like Connor said, nobody, especially YouTubers, have any idea what is going on. Unless Connor says it, of course, right, Connor? I mean, like, look, we're not it. I mean, everyone was in my chat this morning telling me, but Connor said it's happening. And I mean, I told you it didn't. Maybe that's a little bit bite back because others were right and he was wrong. I don't know. You'll have to speak to Connor. Maybe Connor, I don't know. You're out in force. It's all good. It's all love. Okay. Why do you ignore a striker? He is so badly needed. We're not ignoring a striker. We just haven't been linked to one of real credibility yet up to this point, have we? Do we worry that he's holding out for Bamford and Joseph and we're not going to get anyone in? What are your thoughts on that, folks? And kind of just before you do, Hazard, Madozo, you mentioned, honestly, he mentioned Bradley Dack all last night and he's mentioning Bradley Dack all tonight. He's been told he's gone to Sunderland. At this point, folks, he's doing it to just rile, like to just ignore the Bradley Dack stuff. Move on. Meow indeed, Dave. Meow indeed. Yeah, but yeah, go on, mate.
No, just one thing. I think that the perfect number 10 for us should be Bradley Dack for me. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you worry about that though, lads? That we hold out on Bamford and Joseph? I don't mind Joseph, but we do need a killer up top.
We need two for me, because Rutter is not number 9, and I think especially Arizona's left. If Sinisterra leaves two places, maybe Paintsil on the right, and you move Rutter on the left so he can turn inside with his right foot, or you try to adapt him to the number 10 position too, because he's clearly not a number 9. So for me, we need to. Now we have the money with the Adams. If we sell Sinisterra too, because the legal point of his release clause seems to be still up, because he's still not training with the squad. So if we get the money from Sinisterra too, you need to reinvest. And for me, there's no need to splash the cash on a single striker. No. Because for me, you can spend the majority of that on the starter, then you need another squad option. For me, you need 3. Joseph can also be adapted. He's still young. It's like the same situation of Gray. You don't need to rush him. And especially in the pecking order, in the hierarchy, there's still players as of now in. There's Greenwood, there's Gerrard. For me, Greenwood needs on. My opinion is that. That is my opinion. But I think we need the starter, another backup, and Bamford as another backup option. For me, you know that clearly that my other backup option, because it's 3 million euros, is Poyampalo from Venezia, and we need a starter. Like, of course, the preferred option will be Archer, but there's Premier League interest. Piroe, for me, if Saints sell Che Adams to Everton, Piroe will probably be linked to Saints because Russell Martin is there. And
but you have said, though, with Piroe, and it is also being echoed around by other people now, that he doesn't actually fit the system, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, he's going to fit the system of Southampton if he moves there, because he knows the manager, and especially if you look at how he started the season, he's not scored yet because it's a different system. So Swansea used to play route 1 for him because he was leading the line. It's not like that anymore. It's a different system, new manager, of course. So he won't fit the system. There's other players, that can play as the starter number. The dream one would be Archer. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if we're actually being realistic up to this point, for me, Cameron Archer's not one that will be able to get done because they want 20 million for him.
Yeah. I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah, neither do I up to this point.
We'd all love him, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. But
yeah, 100%.
I still think Cannon's one to watch. Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do you think they'll do a deal with us?
I'm not sure as a starter. I'm not sure.
The lad thing from Aberdeen, Duck.
Duck. There's Duck, isn't there? But I think the Cannon thing, though, for me, I think the fact that DCL's also injured now as well. I think he's actually. It looked like it might be a face mask jobby, but I think he's actually done some damage. Some Everton fans might be able to tell us in the chat. I swear he broke his jaw or something. Anyway, he can't be relied upon. I mean, not that he's going to get a look in because you play Morpay over him, but I don't know. I think the thing is with Everton, if you watch them at the weekend, and I know they try to get bodies in, they brought on 2 lads. One had played at Charlton last season and one had played at Derby last season, and they're both in League One. So it shows how light they are. But then I guess it also shows that they weren't really willing to bank on Cannon. But then again, they'd already brought on, I don't know, they'd already brought on Morpay at that point. But yeah, I'm not sure the Cannon one, can they allow him to go? I'm not too sure because they seem pretty light.
Another good option would be, but he was linked to a Serie A club, Cagliari, Duvikas from Utrecht, another Greek. There's a lot of people always mentioning Pavlidis, but Pavlidis is unrealistic as of now, because he played in Europe last season and he's a very good, promising striker. I think we'll move to a top tier if he moves from AZ. The Vigas will be a good option too, as the starter, because in the Eredivisie he scored 19 goals last season, and he's physical, strong, but he's also very versatile. It's not a pole, up front,
It's hard, isn't it? Because I don't know what level we're shopping at here. It's quite difficult to gauge. I'm looking at Paintsil, and I'm thinking he's above our level. But clearly, we're exploring that. And then looking at Ampadu, he's clearly above. Max Aarons, he's clearly above our level. And clearly not. I mean, he was in the end. He went to Premier League. But the fact that he was willing to come here, it's quite a difficult gauge to what type of striker, what level of striker we could kind of go for here. It's quite a difficult one. At the end of the day, I think that's one that we'll visit after we sort of the rest out is the final piece of the puzzle kind of thing. Even though it is one you want to do as soon as possible, I think the club want the right person, because if you get the wrong person, they don't fit the system. They're just not going to score goals. They're not going to be in position to score goals, and we're in the problem again of needing a striker. So I do think we'll get one in. It is worrying, the lack of links, but at the end of the day, to me, that just means they're still looking, or they're still, like you said, they were scouting the guy from Aberdeen, right? They went to scout him. So maybe it's just a matter of watching him for another week to see if he would fit the system. I don't know. But I trust Daniel Farke's judgment as of now on the players he brings in. But yeah, I think once we see this midfield sorted, because like we said, building from the back, it seems now we're moving on to that midfield and a fullback. After that, I think we'll look for the 10 in the attacker in the last week, potentially.
Duke actually is not a bad player, but honestly, I can judge. Of course, he has good skills. He's physical, strong. He has good movement, also attacking and creating stretch for the team. But can we judge really a player and as a starter coming from Aberdeen to the Championship? I mean, no disrespect to Aberdeen, honestly. They were a proper club too, because they won under Ferguson back in the 80s. But honestly, I don't know. I have doubts about Duke, about his instant impact in the championship. Is a big gap. Of course, you see players like Ryan Christie who moved from Celtic to Bournemouth. Ryan Christie was a Scottish international, was playing in the European competitions with Celtic. Back in there was Kelvin Wilson, for example, from Aberdeen to Leeds. He's scoring a lot of goals. He scored a lot of goals, but he will be a good option for the system, because if you look at the way he plays, it's clearly a striker that Farke will like, because if you look at his movement, he's one who's never stalling, always moving, and he is similar to other strikers that Farke had in the past. But I have doubts, honestly, to be fair, because for me the jump would be too big, honestly, and there would be other clubs by now if he was an absolute gem. If you bring him in, honestly, a player like Duke, but also another player from that league, for example, you need to wait for him and have patience in that case, because, of course, I prefer a striker with a proven record in an established league for me. Absolutely. It will be a risk, a gamble for me.
Yeah, I think the two for me are still Paintsil, obviously, and the lad I mentioned, Tucat, in the chat the other day in the Bundesliga 2, who's started it on fire, scoring 4 goals in 3 games. They're for me the two big goal scorers that are still out there for a decent fee. So we'll see. The Paintsil stuff's gone quiet again, hasn't it, with everyone, I think?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen anything on that, Andrea, on your side.
There's no links in Italy currently. Of course, there were a number of club interested now. Venezia has also named him as the captain. He scored against Como. They're one of the clubs, honestly. I've watched the because, of course, my hometown club, Reggiana, this season they play here in Serie B after two years of absence, and I watch basically because there's a live goal, when you can watch live all the games and they change from every game when there's action happening, simultaneously cast, broadcast. And honestly, the two teams that have impressed me the most are Palermo, Venezia with Paintsil, and Parma, unfortunately, our rivals. But yeah, honestly, Paintsil will have another good season if he stays at Venezia, but it's a no-brainer for every club. Honestly, it's a no-brainer. 3 million euros. It's nuts. It's like a very, very cheap signing if it happens with that release clause. It's a no-brainer for everyone. And also there were people mentioning Lorenzo Lucca. It was in my extended list when he was at Ajax. They didn't use the option to buy the Diaz from Pisa. He returned to Pisa. Now he's moved to Udinese, so they're not selling him. And he's not good for the system. Honestly, he's too tall, not versatile enough.
There's a lot of people have mentioned the links for Paintsil to Southampton, but I don't listen. I genuinely don't know how this works, but someone sent it me earlier on. I'm just gonna pop it up on the screen, and I think this is a positive sign.
Tavolieri.
This was the flight that came in earlier on from Brussels to Leeds Bradford Airport, and it went back out because I asked this lad, it went back to Brussels. So by all accounts, it came in. It arrived from Brussels to Leeds at 6:56, and it's supposed to go back to Brussels at 7:30. I mean, it's a short turnaround. I don't know if that's to sign documentation or what. I don't know, but it just seems a bit mad. And we also know Daniel Farke was at Leeds Bradford Airport today. He was there. The lad who tweeted out the picture, Andy, is you've heard me speak about Sean a lot. Obviously, the lad who I went to the games with, who I sit next to when I used to go to the games. I've still got my season ticket, of course, but Andy's used it before in the past. It's Sean's cousin. So I even spoke to Andy to say, is it genuine? He said, yeah. He got into a black, I think it was a black Porsche or something, with a South American looking lad. So I don't know. And listen, I know it's been Junior's Firpo's birthday and there was a flight to Malaga or something like that. But, you know, Junior Firpo was definitely not there because obviously Andy's a Leeds fan and goes to games, so he knows who Junior Firpo is. And why would Daniel Farke go to Leeds Bradford Airport to welcome Junior back? I don't know. So, yeah, that's one to because why was he there? Why was he there other than to meet a player? Surely
he switched his passion from horses to planes, probably.
Yeah. He's doing a bit of plane spotting, doing a bit of plane spotting. But yeah, why else would he be there, right? Like this is the thing. So, yeah. Joe, it would have been leaked by now. Not with this regime, it wouldn't have, mate. I don't think. So yeah, Tony O'Shea says bullshit meter on full alert. I mean, it's not bullshit 'cause there's a picture of him. I mean, do you want to see the picture? It's there. He was there at the airport today. It's not bullshit. Like, you can say it's bullshit if you like and not believe it and choose not to believe it, but that's fine. You don't have to be. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you? Why would he be there? Right? Like,
yeah, it's weird. I don't know whether it could be something to do with Daniel Farke. Like I said, flying one of his family over, but it came from where did the plane come from? Like, yeah, I don't know. It could be a player. It could be meeting with agents, representatives, people from the club. I don't know, but he was there. He was at the airport.
Yeah,
for some reason. So
yeah, the players are training tomorrow, so of course he's not flown away from Leeds.
It's gone.
He was there. Yeah, he was there. He was there to pick someone up, but honestly, I don't know. For me, probably he's a family member or someone else. Because usually if there's a player arriving, is the club or a club official welcoming him at the airport. You know, not the manager, honestly. But also, you know, Klopp, when he was at Dortmund, Klopp used to pop up inadvertently without advice at birthday parties of fun. So you know, Farke is like a disciple of Klopp when he was because they know each other. Probably we can expect everything for Farke. Even welcoming a player, I don't know, but for me, it's probably he was there to pick someone up, someone of his relative or people close to him. You know, for me, that's my idea.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry to spoil the party.
We shall wait and see.
Yeah, exactly.
We shall wait and see. I know if I was there, I wouldn't have just taken it. I'd have been like that. She getting loads, man. Listen, keep it nice in the chat as well, please. Keep it nice in the chat with each other, please. Yeah. Right, great. I think we covered all that, and it's gone like that time. So 1,400 people. Amazing. Topped out at 1,500. We've been going an hour. Is there anything anyone would like to discuss before we do exit?
Just expecting a busy, crazy tomorrow, I think, again.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit more movement on the O'Brien one would be nice.
Yes.
Agree a fee potentially. That'll get me all excited then. And hopefully no one hijacks them. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so
O'Brien will be perfect for this system. Absolutely perfect if you pair him with Ampadu.
Us and Preston, I were told that. I've inquired about him. Now, if it's us and Preston, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. Also, of course, there's Buonanotte. Who, of course, we uncovered those links, but it would have been good, to be fair, because we mentioned him in the when we did the loan scouting report. You know, Buonanotte and Perrone. Yeah, I mentioned Perrone too from Man City. I said Man City too for Buonanotte, but he was at Brighton, and I made that mistake. Perrone's moved to Las Palmas on loan, so Buonanotte probably is going to move on loan. And if they move into the Championship, honestly, we should be in for him if there's a possibility. Because, but if we sign Paintsil, there's a need. But if he can play also in the 10, Buonanotte, he's a right winger, but when he was at Rosario Central, he played in the number 10 position.
He's left-footed as well, isn't he, Andre?
Yeah, he can play with both foot, basically. He was starting at 17 for Rosario Central. And in Rosario, of course, there are two clubs. The one we like, Newell's, and Rosario Central, the club who formed El Diablo. Di Maria. And you have to have balls of steel. You have to be very tough to play at 17 years old in the Gasometro, the stadium of Rosario Central. He was doing bits. There's a lot of good players actually. If you look at Brighton, they're gonna sign Valentin Barco from Boca Juniors. There's a lot of good players in Argentina. This is a market we should look at too, because there's like I give you two names: Bruno Zapelli, Gianluca Prestiani, and another one that would be perfect, like Federico Redondo. Another one, very good. The son of Fernando Redondo.
I was going to say, I knew the name. Yeah, so, folks, I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that we might get one tomorrow. What do you think?
I think we might. Yeah. I don't know. Well, a signed, seal delivered.
Yes, a signed, seal delivered video, medical. What?
I think we could get there's a planned medical in the next few days type tweet.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think we get an announcement.
That'd be great.
I disagree, Lockie. I disagree. For me, right now, we've seen that the journalists get the news out, and after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the club has the announcement.
You think we'll get one?
Happen again? Yeah, for me, yes.
Tomorrow, I think. I think we're going to get one tomorrow, Wednesday. Let's fingers crossed.
I'd love that. That'd be great.
You said that 3 weeks ago. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I don't think I said we're going to get one Wednesday tomorrow 3 weeks ago, did I? But yeah, Lee, I know as much as you, brother. Joe's going to be. Listen, that's the thing, man. I sit at this desk, right? I'll be doing something, and then all of a sudden a link will come and I'll go bush. So you know where to catch it. Make sure you've got your notifications on. Self-proclaimed hardest working man in the game. It'll get to a point when you recognize and realize, and I won't have to self-proclaim it anymore. You'll say it. But yeah, listen, Lockie, what's going on your channel, bro? There's been loads of love for your Rutter video. Have we got another one lining up? Are you maybe looking at a Paintsil video? What's the plan?
Yeah, once we get a concrete link and a player's on his way to Leeds, there'll be a video coming out on player breakdown, my scouting report, all that good stuff. Might do a video on Archie Gray as well, potentially, about his impacts and stuff like that. Potentially, we'll see. And obviously, we'll have the match breakdown in these next few days as well.
Gives a score prediction for Saturday.
What now?
Early does. Oh, guess what? Someone's done for us as well. Actually, wait there. Big up Jamie, by the way. I need to show this to you. Big up Jamie. He's working on one for the what you call it, White Rose Rivals as well, which will be on tomorrow, folks. That'll be on tomorrow.
That's why you're looking. I've got to say Oscar Bob, just so people have.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm just trying to find my spreadsheet, man.
Oscar Bob's going to come in the last week of the window. Clip this.
I don't know how to use like fucking Max, to be honest.
What do you think about Calvin? Well, not for us, of course, because he's not going to move on to.
Some people actually thought we could make that happen, which is insane. No, genuinely, some people thought we could make that happen. By the way,
and by the way, watch the documentary, lads, because if someone haven't, it's good. It's good.
I think
I love his mum. His mum's brilliant.
I think he should go to Liverpool.
But I don't know if they sell him, if they go let him go on loan to a rival potential. Of course, they're not going to rival for the title, Liverpool. But right now, if you look at the top six, they are a rival club in terms of potential targets. European places.
No, they've got a good.
Yeah, Tottenham would be good. Honestly,
they've got injuries, haven't they?
Is that clear? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see the spreadsheet?
Oh, no. I can see StreamYard.
Right. Okay. It's not worked then. Never mind. I was trying to share the spreadsheet with you, but I couldn't. Basically, someone's created as a spreadsheet. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take a picture of it. Just bear with us 1 sec. I'll take a screenshot of it.
They've got a lot of injuries of Tottenham, haven't they? In central midfield. Bit short there. So
they're playing with Papisar.
Yeah.
They were playing,
Yeah, but he was great the other day alongside
he's not a good young player,
Yeah, he was. They have Bentancur out for a long term,
Yeah.
Rodrigo. I didn't rate him at you, but to be fair, it was bad at you. Yeah.
He just scored.
This is what someone's created for us, right? I put the score predictions in, and then I go update the table. Obviously, I can't show you because this is just a screenshot, but we put the players in and then click update the table, and it's got macros, so it automatically populates. But as you can see from here, look, Lockie got 1 point for his Cooper shout. But yeah, someone's made that for us, folks, so I can update it as we go, which is really cool. So actually, don't give me a prediction now. We'll wait. We'll be live on Friday night for that. I've got tomorrow White Rose Rivals, and probably we'll be chatting again, probably with these folks, because I've got a feeling we might get some we might get an announcement tomorrow for sure. I hope so anyway. But yeah, listen, smash a like on your way out, make sure you pay your rent. What's the t-shirt? Looks so good. This, bro, is for the Gary Speed charity walk, and it's also got Speed 11 on the back as well. But it's one of them materials that you can run in and that, you know, like this. So it's a class t-shirt. Yeah, it's good.
We need to do the work together next year, lad.
Well, you'll have to come, man. I'll be able to get you one, man. Yeah, definitely. Right, folks, we'll leave it there. Please make sure you smash a like on the way out. Make sure you check out these lads' channels and Twitters and stuff like that. And we'll see you tomorrow. Great show. And thanks, as always, for your support. And I'll see you on the other side.